females are weak. At least, that's what people say. But as someone that's watched over 40 serial killer movies, I'm gonna highlight some female killers that are so strategic they could take down most of the population, including Dexter Morgan himself. You don't need to know any of these killers ahead of time. I'll provide you the full context as we rank female killers from having no chance to kill Dexter all the way to females that would guaranteed kill Dexter. But first, let's start off with the bottom of the ranking, the females that have absolutely no chance. Let's kick it off with Sweetpea. We can categorize her as the most common type of female killer. She kills out of pure emotion, such as killing this guy who was rude to her or attacking this other man who was mean to her. Her sudden urges to attack when feeling bullied puts her in vulnerable positions like this, where she literally gets caught in broad daylight lunging with a knife.
What are we gonna do?
This uncontrollable urge also means if she went after Dexter, she would probably try something very similar to this. On top of that, her clear lack of preparation, like this pathetic black plastic on her floor that she used as her kill room, it all shows she's not ready for this type of challenge yet. Now that you understand these type of emotional killers, we can throw a few more killers into the same mix. Take for example Pearl, another female that kills out of pure rage, running around with an axe in broad daylight, killing her family because they don't support her dreams of becoming a movie star. I know you guys might think this looks deadly, but when you're this volatile and angry at the world, you get very sloppy with your kills. Try pushing Dexter into a fire like you pushed your mother. I promise you, he's just kicking you in your chest and you're gonna land in some haystack on the other side of your barn. I'm sorry. There needs to be a level of strategy we just aren't seeing yet. Andrea from Swarm is another killer who murders with the very same temper. I want you to examine this specific scene from her respective show called Swarm. It's a scene where Andrea is so triggered by this male, she walks into his home in broad daylight, picks up a pan, and heads toward the bathroom she believes he's in. She slowly creeps up step by step, only for the actual guy to walk into the bathroom right behind her and catch her in this stupid act ready to attack. Like, it's already crazy enough how stupid she looks, facing the completely wrong way, but please note that even if he was in the shower, she's so triggered that she's trying to kill him with a pan. A kitchen pan. The truth is, when you're emotional, you're uncalculated. Your feelings take over and you simply can't kill a man, especially a man like Dexter, with a frying pan. I'm so sorry. And look at us, we're doing such an effective job by putting all these three killers in the no chance category, because there really is no chance. But things are about to get a little shaky as we head towards the female killers with a little more experience. We can label them the middle girls. Okay, that was a stupid name. But these middle girls aren't instinctual. They at least have a select target they go after. Take for example Aileen from the 2003 movie Monsters. She's a pretty threatening killer who goes after men that involve themselves in sex working females. And she goes after them because when she was younger, she was abused by one of these types of guys. So now she has her target in mind and she sets them up by pretending to be one of the sex workers. And once she's in the car with them, she kind of just pulls out her gun. Hey dude, you want head? Take a bullet. Boom. It's really that simple. And already you can see she's a lot scarier because she knows her demographic, she knows how to set up the kill, she's also using a firearm, something that actually killed Dexter in the spin-off New Blood. But with that being said, there's some crucial flaws to killers like her. First, Dexter doesn't seem to be the type of guy to go after sex work and partake in that, so he'd never enter this car. Second, I've talked about her acting before, but Aileen, she is very expressive. You can see her intentions on her face all the time. Especially that hesitancy right before she's about to pull out her gun and kill them. And I'm sure you know Dexter is a very key observer and would certainly be able to catch on to what's happening if he even ended up in that car somehow. And at that point, just pull a Walter White, crash the car, get yourself free, and then just kill her if you want. It's really that simple. So I'll put Aileen as the first girl in probably not, because there's some chance, but like, nah. Continuing on with the middle girls, we can talk about Miss Vohrees, who is the killer in the original Friday the 13th. If you haven't seen it, she's kind of a cuckoo old lady who primarily goes after camp counselors. Mainly at the camp her son Jason drowned at many years ago. But the thing with her is she's very sneaky. She hides in the shadows and we don't even see her in the first half of the movie, where she runs around stabbing people through the bed or creeping up on them from behind. By the time people see her, there's usually an axe put into their face. face. On top of that, she's a master at isolating the victims. She turned off the phone lines, she drained the car batteries so no one could leave the campsite, anything to keep these teenage counselors completely helpless. She also uses dead bodies very effectively to bring out fear in the victims, like hiding them behind doors or even throwing them straight into a window, anything to really freak out the last survivor. So with all that knowledge, for the first time, I think there's a decent shot at killing Dexter. He'd be fully isolated with nowhere to go. But there's a twist. As you see near the end of the movie, when Miss Vohrees actually reveals herself, she kinda sucks at head-to-head combat. She tries to strike their last girl with a knife and completely fumbles that somehow, and then she resorts to literally slapping and choking the victim. Like, what are we talking about? Dexter is oh my god, he is so obviously outpowering her, it's not even funny. So even though she actually did everything right, she doesn't have the final remaining tools to finish the job. So I'd also put her in probably not. To also just keep in mind, everyone she did kill previously, they're all teenagers. These are all like young children at a camp counselors, not a Miami PD sociopath. So there's a clear difference. The same demographic also applies to the female killers in the Scream franchise. You don't need much context because whether it's Miss Loomis in Scream 2 or Jill Roberts in Scream 4, they both have some impressive kills, sure, but it's mainly them just chasing around an unsuspecting teenager with a knife. The fact neither of them could finish off the main character, a female girl that survived both the movies, I'm not sure why Dexter also wouldn't survive them. Once again, it's not like they have any special tools or capabilities, they kind of just run around every movie trying to kill Sidney Prescott. And for you lovers of this franchise, I don't want to undermine them, you know, they are certainly very smart. Like Jill Roberts was pulling out her own hair, stabbing herself, all just to fake a crime scene and pretend she's the victim. But all of this, sure, it shows you're smart, but it doesn't make you a top level efficient killer. And that's what we need to put away Dexter. So I'm also gonna put both these Scream killers in probably not. I think you guys are starting to see the pattern now, where these killers are now slowly getting close, but they don't have the raw hand-to-hand power to take down Dexter Morgan. So let's move things up a notch and talk about the elite female killers. The ones that have enough manipulation, enough strategy to take down almost anyone in the world. But first, make sure you guys subscribe like literally right now. And also make sure you join my Discord if you like talking about serial killers. Cool. The first elite is Love Quinn. Although she is very emotional, she's the first killer of our list to actually use tools to help her murder. Her tool being a paralytic called Asami, basically growing a specific type of flower that paralyzes anyone that gets in contact with it. She mentions her using it on her ex-husband before she met Joe Goldberg.
I just wanted to stop him.
And also uses it on Joe, completely disabling his power, his bodily movement. There is no beating her in combat if you can't beat. On top of that, she's capable of actually being very strategic. Unlike Pearl or Sweetpea, who kill as soon as they get triggered, as you see here, we find out she grows this poisonous aconite for weeks in their own garden before even using it. Like she knows it might come in handy in the future. With that being said, applying it to Dexter, I think he has strong enough instinct to counter this. He very well catches on to people that make bold moves. Like he knew Miguel was getting dangerous even before their big rivalry.
You didn't answer my question.
And I don't think Dexter seeing Love Quinn murder a bunch of times, I don't think after that he would live with her without having some precautions in place. But also there's the argument he never knew how bad Lila was until much later into the chaos because he was so seduced by her. So this one is kind of hard and you guys can kind of rank it wherever. I'd still say probably not. If Joe Goldberg was smart enough to catch on and live through this, I think Dexter is good to go. Probably. But enough teasing you guys, now let's talk about 3 female killers that can very likely take down Dexter Morgan. First, let's talk about Catherine Tramel. She's from an older movie franchise called The Basic Instinct, and she actually never gets caught in her movies because seduction is a very key tactic of hers. Essentially, she kills the men she sleeps with by cuffing them onto her bed during intercourse and then having her way with them. And she gets them into bed in such a sexual way, whether it's her opening her legs slightly in the interrogation room, or sitting in this commanding way, or maybe even getting so intimately close when having a simple conversation. This technique of killing with seduction is so effective on basically all men.
She got that magna cum laude
on her that done fried up your brain.
So the question now becomes, would Dexter be turned on enough to be pulled in by this? Enough to engage in the actual intercourse? And the answer is, there is no way to actually tell. But in general, I'd like to say this is more likely to happen, especially because Dexter is turned on by these edgy types of women, kinda like Lila. So I'd say for the first time, this one is likely to kill Dexter. But somehow, these next two killers are even more likely to kill him. Like I'm talking, we might put them in the top row because they both have an even more fascinating level of seduction, of pull, especially because their seduction is hidden. Let's start off with this Bollywood killer who just goes by Ma'am in this 1999 horror movie named Gone. Things get very dark now, so please pay attention. Essentially, the main character is a girl who suffers from an identity disorder, which we'll talk about later. But the movie starts off with her being home alone and us finding out there is a serial killer on the loose, as shown on TV. Then eventually, there's two men throughout the movie that approach her home and use shady tactics to make their way into her household, whether lying to her or telling her there's someone else in the house. This eventually works, and once they're in the house, they kind of start going crazy and attacking each other because they start suspecting that one of them is the serial killer. Eventually, we progress to the point where one of them kills the other person and goes to pick up the phone to call the cops. But what's that? The phone line has been cut off completely. Certainly an odd little detail, so he goes to tell the girl who's visibly shocked by this, and since she's so shocked, he leaves to go and try to find some more information. But then, when he returns, she's missing. And instead, we find a secret dead body. Ladies and gentlemen, she is the killer. She is the hunter hunting down the men, luring them in as a helpless girl that's home alone, to then eventually transforming into the sinister, twisted being that she actually is. And oh my god, if you've never seen the movie, she is so totally unhinged. She literally sings the lullabies each time she kills them. And she starts dancing around, walking on the edge of her roof. It's twisted. We realize the truth is, she is so genuinely forgetful of this version of her that when the next day comes around, she genuinely has forgotten that she's the killer. And she's so deluded that she's on the phone that doesn't work with her mother that's very much dead. I know this was a lot of information, but it sets up the fact that Dexter would certainly fall for this type of trap. She's a helpless victim in her home that also doesn't know that she's the killer. Unlike other killers we mentioned like Love Quinn or Aileen, who show their intent, their motives on their face, she doesn't know of her devilish actions, so she literally can't show that at all. There's no way to catch on to this. And Dexter is a protector of women at heart. So if he found himself as one of the two men in this house, he'd be so focused on worrying about the other males that her trap would so successfully work. But what about the hand-to-hand combat, Kosha? What about the actual fight? This right here is the first certain killer of Dexter Morgan. Probably one of my most favorite serial killer movies of all time. And also, everybody she's ever killed is seen in this picture, so you can see it's a very tested method. But guys, take one breather just really quickly, because things only get crazier. The next guaranteed Dexter killer also comes from a 1999 movie called Audition. I seriously don't know what it is about 1999. Dexter, you're lucky you weren't around back then. I'm serious. Just like our last girl, she also plays up the part of an innocent girl to then lure men in, saying very subtle but effective lines throughout her conversations. But why would it be so effective against Dexter? Well, because she loves talking about death. Basically, the plot is these men are holding auditions to cast a female for a dance role. In her essay portion of this audition, she speaks very differently compared to normal teenage girls, talking about how it feels like she's accepting death when she had to stop her ballet classes.
ある意味で死を受け入れることに似ています。生きるということは 少しずつ死に近づくということ。
Living is another way of reaching death is such a crazy sentence to utter. But we see the man clearly takes an interest into this type of conversation. So impressed that he'd tell her directly to her face many times in person, which his own friend finds kind of odd, but at this point he doesn't care. We see him starting to like her more and more, eventually going on full-out dates. The dates where she throws in those subtle things we talked about, like living alone. And tying this right back to Dexter, think about it, he would feel the exact same way as this guy. Dexter loves this type of stuff. Women out of the ordinary, women that are kind of helpless like Lumen. So females that speak about life and death like this would almost certainly attract him like nothing else. And after he's officially hooked in, the rest is really just procedural. He would eventually make his way into her house, and unlike other killers that don't have the tools to finish it off, she very much does. She pops a needle inside of his tongue to numb him and stop him from speaking. She would then pop several needles inside of his stomach, all while smiling and singing the words, deeper, 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 deeper. Dexter Morgan, this is your fate. Oh, Dexter, by the way, bro, she'll also cut off your foot using a wire. So just enjoy that, I guess. Yeah. For these reasons, I will put Asami in the will kill him category, because she certainly will. This is literally his perfect type of woman, literally molded for him. She uses tools to neutralize, uses death to seduce. It's almost like we've picked out the best of every female we talked about earlier and put it into her.
Promise me that you won't leave me, that you won't go anywhere.
And guys, to be honest, as a human, you feel this very unique feeling when you sit down and put this much effort into a video where you talk about if fictional female killers could kill a fictional man. Like, what am I doing? Please make sure you guys subscribe for that and let me know your thoughts on this final ranking in the comments below. And also click this playlist if you want to watch all my other videos on serial killers. I'll see you in the next video. More. Deuces.